Good morning, everyone. Welcome to our 10,000 episode this morning. We are so excited today to talk about prospecting. This is a important topic, obviously, because we are salespersons, right? And so prospecting is a huge part, if not the only thing that really matters in our business, right? Being commission based. And so we are joined this morning. I'm joined this morning by broker support, Doug Hill. Say good morning, Doug.
Hey, what's happening, people? How are you?
Rockstar agent Connor Pilmore, who will be giving us some tips and tricks and ideas and all the things. And Connor's coming from a closing this morning, so obviously it's working, whatever he's doing.
Good job, man. Good job.
So nice work, Connor. And so we wanted to bring this topic to the agent community this morning because we are currently in the second quarter. And there are a combination of factors this year: interest rates rising, inventory still being low, a record number of buyers in the market right now has created a situation where there are a lot of agents right now who aren't busy. They're not busy. We're in the spring market and they have no business. And so we wanted to encourage our 5-star rock stars and give you all some ideas and tools on how to be successful in any market, a high market, low market, buyer market, seller market, any market. What are some things that you can be doing all of the time to make sure that you're staying in front of people? So I am going to turn it over to Doug. Doug, I would like to know, what are some things that you have done? And let's just say in the past 12 months, right? Because we're in a very different situation than we were even 2 years ago, right? So let's just say in the past 12 months, what have you been doing to get in front of people and to prospect?
Well, it's kind of interesting because we all use this word consistency in real estate, right? Whether it's a high time, a low time, we really don't know time. What you just mentioned about all these buyers, right? Gosh, we got all these buyers, so agents should stay busy. But why are we not busy?
Right.
And I keep going back to the word consistency because we're not doing the same things over and over and over again each day to kind of create that consistency. Again, the conversations that you're having with your buyers nowadays. Doug, I want to buy something, but there's nothing out there to buy. What do I do? And again, here we go again, right? We're managing.
Right.
We got our managing emotions. We got our, these discussions that are out there. The number one thing that I love to talk about is the fact that I'm consistent every day, and I love to prospect every day. So I carve out time every day, no matter what. Come hill, come high water, that first 2 hours of the day. And I'm just a guy that loves to get it out of the way. It's kind of like people that exercise. They love to get it out of the way first thing in the morning, because if they don't do it in the morning, it's not going to get done, right? So it's the same analogy with prospecting. If you can spend the necessary time, it doesn't have to be 2 hours, gang. It can be an hour. It can be set a goal each day to contact 5 people. And these aren't leaving messages. These aren't tweeting. These aren't, all the things that we do with technology nowadays. These are literally ear-to-ear phone calls that, again, for me, in order to keep consistent each day, I need to make sure I'm doing that. I don't like the highs and the lows in the business. I like it to be consistent.
Exactly.
And that's our goal. That's our goal. Connor, you're probably going through the same thing right now, right? You're just doing the same things. What you're doing is working. And
what are you doing, Connor?
Share with us, buddy. What are you doing?
Well, I said earlier, you caught me at a good time because I'm finally being a little more consistent in my business, and I'm on pace for one a month right now. I got another thing under contract yesterday, and one a month's great, but it's even better 2 a month. So
yes, it is.
Staying consistent is obviously very important.
Yep.
For sure. And Connor is on a team. So we did want to make sure that we mention that. And Connor, how would you say the dynamics are different you think of being an individual agent versus being on a team with prospecting and leads?
Yeah, so I'm on the ET Properties team with Emmett Terbeek. And yeah, I mean, Emmett's great. He really helped me get my feedback so when I first started, I did a couple things early and then got complacent. You know, I decided to join up with Emmett. You know, he offered me a lot of advice and help, and he got me back on the ground, and he's
Nice.
just been very supportive in anything I try to do. If you know, if I need, you know, he's gone out there and we're buying lists of seller names, potential seller names, and we're calling through those together.
Okay.
We've been a little bad about it lately, but we've been doing, you know, weekly videos together, kind of just so we can share with our sphere and, you know, our social media, you know, hey, here's things going on. You know, our most recent video, we talked through like, what is an earnest money deposit? We get those questions all the time. So staying in touch with people, but obviously prospecting is going to be one of the most important things for us.
Well, I've always said you're the rainmaker, right? You're the one that's making the rain and no one else can do that. So if you can do that and stay consistent, and the benefit of, I think the benefit of being on your team too, is you got that support, right? Keep people to kind of keep you focused on things you should be doing and then maybe things you shouldn't be doing, right?
Right. And that's
Yeah.
super important. I mean, for those that aren't on a team, you know, and are individual agents, that accountability can come from broker support,
Yeah.
right? But I think what I'm hearing is it's very important to have strategy. It is also very important to have accountability.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Connor, what was your biggest win in regards to
Biggest
prospecting?
win. In regards to prospecting. So I'm probably going to reference this a lot. If you guys haven't heard of a guy named Brandon Mulrennan, he does YouTube videos. He also has a coaching program, but most of his stuff is right on the YouTube videos. He's actually out of Detroit, and he focuses a lot on for sale by owners, expireds, and what he calls absentee owners. So people that have like a rental property, maybe just one, and they're looking to maybe get out while the market's high right now.
Yeah.
My biggest win from using some of his strategies, I listed a for sale by owner back in February or March, I can't remember.
Okay.
But, you know, I called him, you know, just asked to get in front of him. You know, one of his big things is getting face to face changes everything. Phone call, priority, but then getting face to face is super important because over the phone, people can be really mean. They can, you know, say things that they don't mean just to get you off the phone because they know you're a salesperson.
Yeah.
If you can get in front of them, it changes things. So I went there, met with them, you know, had a good conversation, sent them a card in the mail. They called me back next week, said, hey, you know, we're just going to list this. We want you to come present to us and see what you can offer us. And I got the listing. So
Nice.
just going out there and doing stuff, having the conversation is so important.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and I think what you just said is the key, getting in front of those folks, getting to the kitchen table. We've always talked about, right? When you're at the kitchen table, are you much more powerful? Sure you
Right.
are. Yeah. And again, there's that trust factor that's built. But again, it starts with that phone call. And you must have said some right things on the phone, my friend, because that allowed you to get that appointment.
Yeah. And, you know, there's a lot of scripts out there that'll try and be pushy and aggressive, but people don't want that, especially right now. A lot of sellers are in control. They know that, so it's good to just stay agreeable. So yeah, you know, I understand you're selling that place by yourself, and that makes a lot of sense in this market. I just like to come take a look at the house, see it, and then, you know, afterwards I can give you some feedback and maybe some information about the market that might help you out. You know, just having those honest conversations and then becoming the obvious choice if they need somebody to list their house down the road.
Yeah.
So Connor, what I'm hearing in prospecting is the importance of being authentic, right? And not pushy.
Very much so.
We do have a question from Amari Mendez. Do you buy Zillow leads?
Hey, there you go.
Yeah, I've done the Zillow leads myself before. We've done the Zillow leads on our ET Properties team. it's like a lottery machine. You just pull down the lever and you see if something good comes out. You know, every once in a while it hits. A lot of times it doesn't, and especially lately, you haven't seen much from it. So we've really been weaning off that program.
Awesome. Thank you for the question, Amari. So what about, we've talked about a big win. Have you had like a prospecting fail? And I don't even like the word fail, but have you had a prospecting like challenge?
I had a what's called a learning experience, right?
I love that.
So, you know, I'm pretty firm on trying this, you know, for sale by owner route because I did it. You know, I've done it this year. I've listed it for sale by owner, and I'm very confident.
Uh-oh.
We might have lost him. Might want to, or maybe he's back. Just about the time he was going to tell us the key to for sale by owners, right?
Here's the trick. I was like leaning in.
So was I. I was like, tell me something. Tell me something.
Like the perfect time.
Questions.
There,
Okay.
hey, we lost you for a little bit. Do you mind repeating that?
Uh-oh, we lost him again.
The beauty of technology, people. When it works, right?
It's the flexibility for me, though, like being able to do this like anywhere. It's awesome. Well, I will share. Oh, there you go.
Okay, yeah, I pulled up to my house, and so it put me on the Wi-Fi, but I'm still far away, so I switched back. Where did you lose me?
At the beginning. So learning experience.
So learning experience. So yeah, so just this past week I went to I did the same thing. I called it for sale by owner. I got them to let me swing by their house just to take a look. We got there and I walked through the house with them, and then I said, "Can I give you some feedback?" They said, "Of course." Talked to them, ended up talking with them for probably 50 minutes, and they need to move by, they're moving out of state at June 1st, so they definitely need to sell. But they got to a point where they're like, "Well, what would you sell this for? What do you think I could get? And you know, what is the best strategy?" And I just did not come in there prepared to answer those questions. I didn't go over there planning to do a listing presentation.
Mm-hmm.
And I think really if I would have had my ducks in a row and really known my numbers, like this is what I would list at, this is what I would do, this is what you could expect to get. If I had that lined up, I probably could have signed him right then, but I did not. And so now I'm in this course of follow-up where I built a good relationship with them, but I couldn't close then. So now I need to let them suffer a little more selling their house on their own, and hopefully, you know, in the next couple of weeks here, when they decide, if they don't get it sold up by themselves, and they're moving out of state, that I could come in and be the obvious choice for them. But that was definitely something that I could have done a lot better, and I think I missed out on a potential now listing appointment from that.
Let me back up to a couple things that you said that really mean a lot to me. You know, number one, 50 minutes on the phone, almost an hour on the phone with these folks, right? So you're.
This was in person.
Oh, this was in person. Gosh, this is oh, that's awesome. Well, so the call that's made, and a lot of people say, well, you know, when I get on the phone with a for sale by owner, what do I say, and how do I sound authentic, and how does this not sound fake? And it sounds like some of the things that you're saying on the phone to get these appointments, they're authentic, they're you. And again, share with us a little bit about that, because I know that's a concern I hear from a lot of agents. That phone weighs so much, and I don't know, once I get it up here, what am I going to say, and how do I just, you know, do I just throw up on people, or do I really know what I'm saying on the phone, right? So what are some of those things that you say when you first get on the phone?
Okay, well, first off, if you're having trouble picking up the phone, which we all do, my first recommendation is take a cold shower. It's going to be brutal, but nothing's going to be worse than that. So if you can take a cold shower, you can get on the phone. And I started doing that every day. That's no joke.
I like this.
But when you get on the phone, I mean, I guess this is kind of what it looks like. I always look up their name first, because that's an easier opener. So, you know, I say, "Hey, Bob," and they go, "Yeah, that's me." You know, perfect. And you say, "Well, I'm calling about the house you have. I understand you're selling that by yourself, and I respect that. I'm just curious, are you open to paying a buyer's agent commission if we brought you a fully qualified buyer? Sometimes they will say no to that, right? So they'll be like,
Right.
no. And that's probably not a good lead for you. Maybe call them in a week or two and see if they've changed their tune. But most of the time they'll say yes. And then you say, well, that's great. You know, I'm just calling. And what I always kind of go to is I'm just kind of previewing some homes in that area. I do some business over there. I'd love to swing by your house one day this week and check it out. It looks really nice. There may be some more conversation in there depending on how the conversation is going, but the whole goal is to get to their house, because like we said, once you get there and in person, everything changes. They're not so defensive if they can see a face and it doesn't just feel like a sales call.
Yep.
I mean, that's the gist of it. And then if you're really feeling confident, you can ask the question, well, that's great. You know, I'm just curious if at some point down the road, you can't sell this thing, whether that's 30, 60, 90 days down the road, would you consider interviewing an agent like myself to get you the most money for your property?
Holy
And
smokes.
you pose that question
Yeah.
way out there. You want to put it where they think this is never going to happen, like 30, 60 days.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm going to have it sold by then. Yeah, sure, I would interview if I couldn't sell it by then. So now you've got their agreement, and you get to their house and you talk to them and you build the relationship, you follow up. They can't get it sold. You're the obvious choice if you pose yourself correctly.
Boy, that's great.
So Connor, I have a question.
Great advice.
Because this market is obviously so seller heavy, do you have a lot of people not being successful with FSBOs?
Well, I guess the answer, there are some that sell them themselves. They absolutely do. But let me give you an example of one of those. So I went to an open house. So instead of calling in, I guess I did call them and confirm the open house with them, so they knew I was coming. But I went to their open house right at the end, so I was hoping nobody else would be there. Walked through, checked it out, and then I did the same thing, like, hey, can I just kind of share some feedback with you? And they said, of course. Walked them through some stuff. I walked them through a purchase agreement. So I was like, when you get an offer, which, you know, you probably will, staying agreeable. Here's what it's going to look like when they send it to you. And I walked them through, like, this is what you got to look for. Here's the important parts of this purchase agreement.
Nice.
And she ended up getting an offer like the next day, and it was above asking price. But she called me and she said, hey, I want to write some things in my counter in case, you know, appraisal doesn't come back right. And I just don't know how to write that. And so I helped her write a counter offer totally for free. And she got it and she sold her house. But she said, you know what? You were so helpful. My son is looking to buy a house, and the agent he's working with is a piece of crap. He said, I'm going to recommend that he should work with you.
That's awesome.
So
that's awesome.
I mean, I've followed up with him a couple of times. It seems like he might be a little bit out still, but nonetheless, that's a great contact. If you get, you know, even one of those a month, just a contact like that where you can be, you know, build that relationship, that's value in itself.
I love that.
Yeah.
It's that wow service that Greg talks about all the time, right?
Yeah.
Like making sure that you're providing value. I love it.
Very intuitive. That's good. That's good. Well, and that's pretty textbook, man. That's pretty textbook that happened that way. Because we all feel like, I mean, are we being valued? Are we being valued? Are we being taken advantage of? And the way you presented that, and the way you felt that gal through the whole thing, man, she's going to tell how many people,
Right.
You're the guy. You're the guy. So just that one experience will lead to a whole bunch of good ones moving forward. So great job.
Yeah.
Great job.
Nice. So as we wrap up here, Connor, I'm curious, what kind of goals have you set for yourself this year for your production? And what is your are you going to adjust your prospecting to reach that goal?
Yeah, I kind of already have. So I'm my new goal is to do 10 contacts a day. and that's talking with homeowners about buying or selling. And it's harder than it sounds. It's hard. You think talking to 10 people about buying or selling their house shouldn't be that hard, but doing it day after day is pretty tough.
It's tough.
Yeah, it definitely is.
Yep.
But I think there's a direct correlation with how many contacts you make to how much money you make.
Sure.
And I'm a few weeks into that challenge or goal of doing that on a regular basis.
Okay.
And I mean, I'm going to people's houses, whether I'm getting listings or not. I'm going and I'm meeting and I'm having these learning experiences.
Mhm.
So hopefully, you know, it continues to grow. And I don't want anybody to think that I'm like some top agent doing 20 million right now. I think I'm sitting at 1.3 for the year after today, which isn't anything
That's
crazy.
really good.
Well, I'd like it to be a lot better.
Yeah, but it's kind of like eating an elephant one bite at a time, right? Being consistent, doing the same things, and it's kind of to me, it's kind of like you got to stay consistent in what you're doing during the tough times when there's, Marissa, as you mentioned, when there's a ton of items, nothing to sell, or whether the market shifts, because we know it always will, right?
Right.
We don't know when. But again, being consistent in terms of what you do. And it sounds like, Connor, you're just along with your team, you're doing what needs to be done.
Well, thank you, Connor, so much for taking the time on happy closing day. On closing day to talk with us and just share your experiences. I want to encourage everyone that's keep trucking ahead. It is May. So we're not halfway through. We're not halfway through almost, but keep consistent, like Doug has said, and as Connor has said, and stay true to yourself and be authentic. And hopefully we have a good year.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Go take a cold shower.
Take a cold shower. That's the takeaway from today.
I'm old. I don't know if I can get in the cold shower, but I'll try.
Well, thank you, Doug, and thank you, Connor, for sharing the agent community this morning. Agent community, remember, you can reach out to broker support if you ever need anything, and reach out to Connor if you have some questions about anything that we talked about today. I'm sure he would love to help.
I know I'm calling him.
Yeah, me and Doug, we have our talks.
We have our talks, baby. We love them. All right.
Well, happy Thursday, everyone. Enjoy the rest of your week and weekend, and we'll see you next Thursday.
That's great. Connor, thank you.
Thanks, Connor.
Yeah. Thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
All right.